Em.
How are you?
I'm so delighted to see you again.
I know. And
Again
then
in a couple of weeks.
again in a couple of weeks in sunshine, because at my house right now, the snow is pouring down. So let's start off with telling everybody your name, where you live, all those great details about who Martha is.
Well, it's not about all that, but my name is Martha Smythe, and I live in El Sobrante, California, which is in the East Bay of the San Francisco Bay Area. And of course, I'm a Dr. Joe student, and I'm passionate about our development.
So let's start off with telling us a little bit about your journey. So what has kind of brought you here to this moment with me right now?
Well, because we were having dinner together just a couple of weeks ago.
That is true.
When you were asking, does somebody have a testimonial? Well, I didn't have a testimonial. Nothing has really big has happened to me. And then we were chatting and you said, oh my God, this is a testimonial. And I'm like, well, yeah, I guess it is.
Absolutely.
It's not healing from a grave illness or anything, but you enjoyed my story and invited me to have a testimonial. And I'm like, great. It's
Yes.
related to my mind movie. My testimonial is just some dots that connected.
And people need to hear that, because there's some person in the same situation you were in months ago and needs to hear it.
Well, I'm delighted to share because I derive an amazing amount of inspiration and momentum from the group and from the sharing and from hearing others. It's a force that's like a river that doesn't stop. It's really beautiful. This whole team we're doing.
Absolutely. So let's back up just a little and start with what brought you to Dr. Joe's work. Had you been doing spiritual work before that? What kind of brought you here?
Well, I started meditating when I was 17, and I've been meditating ever since. And I've been into, energy work, spirituality, all that. It's not like been into it. That's just who I am, and it has been who I am. I think I came in that way. And my twin sister reminded me about Dr. Joe. She was doing his work and she mentioned it. And I knew of Dr. Joe's work through What the Bleep, but I hadn't tuned into what he was doing now. And I did, and it really turned me on, excited me a lot. I have never done guided meditations. I've always done very quiet internal meditation. And this has been really quite a journey for me. So I'm hooked. This is what I do. And I have a great community here in the Bay Area, and I met more people at the Santa Fe workshop, and we join together for little events and we meditate together. But the bulk of my work is my own meditation and embodying it in my life daily. That's where I feel that Dr. Joe has really helped me turn a corner, because I'm not struggling anymore like I used to with what I knew was possible and yet what my reality was. And, oh, I feel all this in my meditation and yet this is my experience. It really is all becoming my experience. And so, yeah, I guess that leads us into my little story.
Yeah, please share.
My little story is just that, so you already know, you've got the background. I'm doing this work. And by the way, my profession is that I used to be a nurse, and I'm a care manager, and I'm a health coach, functional medicine health coach, and a life coach. And life coaching is the most fun thing that I do of my different lines of work. I really love it. So I'm starting to have this conversation at some point with my husband, and he's saying, he's going to retire soon and he really needs to, and we'll probably need to go back to Spain. And we have a farm. We've got 70 acres and a big old farmhouse there, and I raise my children there. And economically, it's a lot easier there than here. And I'm like, whoa, I don't want to go back to Spain. That feel it just totally inside feel, even though it's a beautiful life there, it just feels like going back to a former life, and we're going there to survive. No, man, I'm creating something and I'm going forward. And I don't know physically what that change might mean, but it doesn't feel like I'm going back to Spain. So it's like, okay, Martha, you got to get to work on this, on creating just the freedom to choose.
And it sounds like you became very clear on what you didn't want.
Yeah. And you know, it's not to say that in the future I might actually want to go to Spain, because there's some beautiful things about that. I've actually lately been thinking about some kind of alternatives to living on the farm, but I want the freedom to choose where I want to live. So I just said, you know, you got to get to work on, so that conditions and circumstances aren't going to dictate your direction. I want to create, basically sort of came down to an income stream to allow me to make a free choice based on my desires. And honestly, I've never worked with the money thing has always worked out for me in my life. So I've never really focused on it in terms of creating something. And I've always done well on a little, but I'm into this other place now where if I'm going to stay in California, I'm going to need a little more than a little. So anyway, so I took that into my internal experience and I said, okay, it's time to create this. And you know, you can do it and you've got the tools to do it. And so the very first day that, because I always do watch my mind movie after I meditate, and I noticed I have my mind movie is full of, you know, you are love, your gratitude, your trust. It's all those internal qualities that I continue to develop. And I've got these 4 little slides about abundance, and one of them is golden opportunities come your way, and they're gold coins falling into a bag. And I realized when I sat down, because of this conversation I'm having with my husband, those that slide, whenever it showed up to me, it always translated immediately into more life coaching clients. And I'm like, no, 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 that's not going to give you what you need for this kind of freedom. And you're not supposed to be defining it in the first place. That's the conditioning, you know. You're I can ask for more, or put the intention there for more clients, but the golden opportunities, I was like, I don't know what that golden opportunity is. And
Yeah.
so I really just set my focus on, when you see that slide, allow the universe to show you what that golden opportunity is, and just trust and know that it's there. And I'm so curious and excited to find out, what is this golden opportunity. And so for 4 days, it just happened to be 4 days before I was meeting my friend Allie from the Santa Fe workshop, and we were going to meet for dinner and go to a group meditation with some Dr. Joe friends. So it was 4 days after I started this new approach. And I met Allie for dinner. And during the dinner conversation, something came up about like what this body of mine struggles with, like the diagnosis of Hashimoto's hypothyroidism and the things that come out of that. And I have this low bone density number that's sitting in my file somewhere, and the fatigue and things, and it's getting better, but can always get yet better still. And she mentions this new product that she's just signed up for, that helps balance the whole endocrine system and invites your pituitary gland to produce its own human growth hormone. And it's homeopathic, it's energy medicine. And I'm like, wow, that sounds really neat. So I was just, but then she said, oh, and it's direct sales. I just signed up for this business. It's a new company. And I got this total rush in my body, like where tingle, tingle. It's this response that I get when it's a yes. And I got this response and I'm like, tell me more about that. And it was like, sign me up. And I knew, because my body told me that this was a response to my mind movie. This was my golden opportunity. I'd never worked a company. I didn't know anything about direct sales. I've been in the health field my whole life, but I was like, the universe brought it. I got the answer. Okay, bring it on. I've had such a blast. And the coolest thing about it is that it's been energy work all the way. The whole time I'm just very tuned into applying the principles to every step of the way. So now I'm in the business, and my first check was for the first week of August. And I will say that my first desire was that I could go to more than 1 week-long workshop per year. By the end of August, I had earned enough to pay for Cancun. So that was just, yes, it was a thumbs up for me that this was working in the way that it was designed, because I also remember from my own life coaching, when I work with clients, just remember when you're setting your intentions, it's this or something better still. Keep it open. And Dr. Joe talks about that. We tend to want to limit the picture according to what we believe is possible, but to remember there are all possibilities. And so I was very conscious of keeping this whole thing open to the greater still. I feel like I got a second biological upgrade because this product actually has proven to, I'm now 4 months in it, and it's really changed my hormones, and I'm not experiencing any of the symptoms that I had before. So, you know, I asked for the income stream, I got that, but I've got this new energy in my body, and it's because it's homeopathic and it's energetic medicine. I see it as coming into that loop that Dr. Joe talks about, where your thoughts and your feelings change your biochemistry and your hormones, your genetic expression. And, you know, we can invite a little help into these different areas.
Tools, absolutely.
So that's a tool that I've brought in, and it's increased. It's really helped my meditation and my focus, but also just my energy is very high all day. I don't have fatigue. But another really exciting big part of it for me is not only did I get the income stream and the new biological upgrade, but I'm passionate about my whole thing. My whole passion has been about working with people and in the health coaching, it's very much about bringing your biology to a place where then you can really live your life and your joy. Yes. It's not just about overcoming symptoms. So I'm excited to be on that path. And then this company's product is changing the medical world. I think it's going to have a big impact because people are throwing away meds, and I'm super excited about being a part of that. So there's all these knock-on things, and I've almost forgotten about moving to Spain. It's like I'm not even focusing on it anymore. I'm just in this new thing, and then the part that I'm loving is knowing that I'm a creator. I can't say I've ever really studied a laboratory. I haven't been the scientist in a laboratory, and I'm being a scientist in my own laboratory right now, and I'm having a lot of fun with that.
And isn't it funny how, as I said, when we get really clear on what we want, not only a lot of time, most of the time will it come, but other things that you could never even imagine come along with it. And that's the creation part, and that's the trusting and letting go, is letting more things than you even thought about, allowing those to come in as well.
Yeah, that's actually the real cake, not the icing, because it's like when Dr. Joe says, you know, when you think you're intending to create, for instance, more financial abundance, which is basically what I was intending, you're really looking for freedom. You know, maybe you need to work that out, but you're really looking for freedom. Well, I was very clear that I wanted the freedom that the money would bring, but also there's that freedom of just expression and your creativity. And so there's so many avenues of freedom and expression that I'm experiencing through this one chain of events. And I love that Dr. Joe's all over the place, because I'm working with Dr. Joe people, and it was through the Dr. Joe work that I came up, you know, that I met the person that led me, and now it's coming back around, and I get to go to this workshop in Cancun, which I know is just going to is just another upgrade. And so it's, I'm very joyful about it. And then a fun, cute thing that I will add is that 2 months into the business, Allie says, Martha, you won the prize. And I'm like, what prize? There's a prize? And I won a prize? Yes, at this whole team of people from way up. So it may have been 1,000 or more people. I don't know, but a lot. I brought in the most people in this 2-month period of anybody. And I was rewarded. This guy just put this out there for fun, a $500 Amazon.
Wow.
But the best was, I haven't even used the card yet. I've sort of forgotten about it. I have to remember that I have it there. But that people were, and Allie was like, we got to do an interview. You like, what's your secret? Like, I've never done this. I don't know what I'm doing. You know, I'm like breaking all the rules. I'm so sloppy, and I'm just doing a little bit on here and there. And it's just energetic. That's all I can say. But I can't believe that I got the prize and there were all these veteran
Trained
internet marketing people in that group, you know, so that was fun.
That is so, and that is such a common theme, even in, you know, quote unquote, Dr. Joe's work, is the people that don't know what they're doing or, you know, aren't trained, because I think then it actually comes from intuition. It comes from inside. It doesn't come from the brain and from what you're taught. It comes from inside. So of course, when you connect with that, look what happens. As you told me this at dinner a couple weeks ago, you were glowing, and you're glowing today. I can tell it's something you're really passionate about, and I love it. That's why I want to get people's stories out there, because people feel that. They feel your passion. And of course, you know, people want to know, how do you create? How do you create in your life and get what you want? And as you said, most of the time it's the freedom to do. It's not the money that's going to bring it to you. It's the freedom to do, you know, as you said, what you want to do.
Yeah, and actually, I think I would, for me personally, it's much more powerful that I have the focus on what that freedom looks like versus the amount of money in the bank account. So yeah, some people will paste the supposed $1 million bill on their ceiling above their bed, so they're looking at the money, or there's something about the bank account. And I'm sure that helps, because I've heard some stories with that. But somehow that's just not where I go. Where I go is what that freedom would look like expressed, as it's expressed. So what I see myself is, I just see myself freely choosing to do whatever I want to do. And I just do it. Money doesn't even really come in. I just know that the means is there. Anyway, it's all very exciting, and I love being a part of it. And I love that we're going to be checking in some more to see what you're creating.
Yes.
For instance, with these videos and things that you're sharing with people. Such a beautiful contribution to the group.
It's my passion. It's my passion. It really is. Stories are so important, because I know they were for me when I first started off in this work. It was, you know, I watched testimonials all the time. And I think, you know, it's amazing to go to Dr. Joe workshops or whatever, you know, whatever workshops you may choose from whatever teacher. And they're amazing to be there. But I think it's important also for people to know, when you get home, how you can continuously do that in your life. And you are a great example of having these tools and then going, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And look how it's manifested in your life. Look how you've created that in your life. So that's so, so important. So maybe a couple more things. Share with us, what do you think kind of brought you to the point where it kind of tipped the scales into really kind of pushing you and things speeding up for you in your creation? What do you think kind of got you there from the last couple years?
Well, one thing I would say is just maturity. I love being in my 6th decade, and there's a lot of wisdom that comes from that and experience, and a lot of years of doing spiritual work where it was like this category of my life, but it wasn't. I didn't bring it fully into my life. It's like, take an old journal and read it, and maybe I could have written it today when I wrote it years ago. It's like, where's the growth here? So there's something about maturity and hindsight and seeing that things aren't working. Dr. Joe's work came into my life at the perfect time. Any time would have been the perfect time. It just, when it came, of course, that was the perfect time. I mean, I can truly say that his work is what has caused a really large shift for me, because Dr. Joe and the community have demonstrated to me, like the testimonials that I've watched, what ordinary people can do. And it's hugely inspirational. And now, as Dr. Joe is now talking about, the collective of the group is really quickening and speeding up. And I've studied so many metaphysical principles throughout my life. You know, metaphysics has just been a big subject for me. And so I love witnessing how all of that science, it's not a theory. It really, really works. It fits together like that. So yeah, the tipping, I guess it's a combination of, and also that I think I have this inherent trust. I just always have. I don't know why, but I have really been a trusting person, especially in terms of my own process and things. And when really hard things have happened in my life, there's always been this trust that it's just part of my process and part of my learning. And so part of me has sometimes said, God, you're a tough nut to crack, Martha, because you've brought on some really big challenges. Learning, it's as if can't you learn it a little easier?
Yeah.
And now I feel is my time when I'm really learning it
Wow.
with ease and grace and fun and joy. And I kind of feel like those days of learning it the hard way are over. And that's because I believed in that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the way I learned.
Absolutely.
And I don't believe in that anymore. I have a different belief.
Yes.
So.
Oh, I love it. So I will ask you the last question that I ask everybody at the end of the interviews. I'm sure you've heard me talk about it millions of times. Love over fear. That's my motto. That's what I try to live every day. So when you hear that, love over fear, what does that mean to you in your own life?
Well, the first thing I think of every time I see that love over fear with you, I always reflect back to A Course in Miracles, because one of the greatest principles was that everything is a call for love or an extension of love. And it's also the part of the teaching that's in a lot of teachings that there's really only two sources, that there's love or fear. Well, there's only one source, which is love, but there is love and there's the absence of love, which is fear. So for me, love over fear means I'm either in love or fear. And when I'm having a limiting thought, or I go into fear without defining it as such, without an intellectual process, but my body, mind system starts to experience that, now I have tools where I catch it. Because the moment I feel out of disharmony, once I fall kind of into disharmony, there's a light bulb that goes off, because it's a trigger for me. Like, I know, and I can see, and I just remind myself to quit telling myself that lie.
Wow.
Because, love is the truth. So, I mean, it's not I'm just giving you a very spontaneous answer here.
Perfect.
It's a very
That's what I love.
subject that we could get into a huge conversation.
Absolutely.
But I think that's good enough.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that. And I think, you and me are common in that with the trusting thing. I think that goes along with allowing yourself to feel, to go to love more than fear, is that internal process of being able to trust more maybe than others. I think that's a huge part of that too. But yes, that's what I want is just right off your head what it means. So yeah, I love it. I love it.
That I met you in a taxi.
Yes.
On the way to a workshop where that was the beginning of your major transformation.
It was.
You and I have this special little connection.
We do.
You and I there in the taxi, just chatting it up, and then the conversations we've had since then. And it's been fun to be in touch with you and for all that you've shared about your process.
Oh, well, thank you. And yeah, for those of you who don't know, Martha and me shared a taxi on the way to Indian Wells, my first advanced workshop. I think, was it your first advanced workshop too? Yeah. And I think we were both in very different places in our life. And it's so amazing to look back a year and a half later and see where we're at right now, you and me. It's exciting.
Yep. Yes.
So exciting. So thank you so much for sharing. I cannot wait for people to hear this. I know your story will touch a lot of people, and you may get bombarded with emails after this. So
Emily, it was really fun. It was so much fun. Thank you. And good luck.
Thank you.
You're on in another minute.
I know. Thank you. And we will see you in a couple weeks in Cancun.
Yes.
Awesome.
So
All right. Talk to you later, Martha. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.